Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you had a great Christmas and a happy new year. Today we're taking a look at the just released ScaleTrains EMD GP40s in phase 2C and 1A3 and 1A2. So we'll see what you get in the box with these GP40s starting right now. We'll start with the Milwaukee Road and use that as the example to unbox. Inside is a manual with about 15 pages of information, including configuration variables, functions, volume charts, handling, packaging, etc. Inside the actual box here is the locomotive, surrounded by foam and this hard plastic shell they call blister packaging. And we'll pop this right out. There's these truck immobilizers on here you gotta watch for, because if you set it down and those are on there, it might tip over. But it's out of the box just like that. So we'll get the handrail protection removed and take a closer look. As we zoom in on the nose here, you're going to see lots of variations when we unbox the other ones, but I'm going to do a 360 with just the overall features of the locomotive. You're going to have a horn mounted probably in various areas here. You've got the number boards that are backlit with LEDs, headlights that are lit with LEDs, very fine etched metal windshield wipers. There's going to be sand filler hatches and separately applied grabs on various places on these models. Classification lights. If we look there to the right of the cab window just slightly, you can see the firecracker antenna there. Cab has interior detail as well. There's the old style handbrake that is a lever style with chain that's kind of peeking out right there in between the stanchions. Battery box doors, you got a speed recorder there on the trucks and some other truck detail. The blower housing, the dustbin hatch up top, so you can see the separately applied lift rings as well. Dynamic brake fan grill and radiator fan grills, and all that compartment detail with latch detail along the side there. Handrails look pretty straight from what I'm seeing so far. There's also some warning labeling, as you can see there, in between the stanchions, and some very fine print that I don't know if I go any further in that you will be able to read, but it looks like it may be legible under magnification. Can also get a better look at that truck detail. Separately applied grabs on the rear and even on the top there by the radiator fans. You can see the windshield wiper applied to the rear window too, and you can see how straight the handrails are from this back view. You've got ScaleTrains couplers. You've got an accessory hose on 3 on each side, and a brake line hose with silver tipped end, and more classification lights on the rear. And more of the same on the other side, including even latch detail for the door latch to get in to the cab there. And that window on one side is three-dimensional, kind of sticks out a little bit like a bay window. I think it was some sort of winterization window, if somebody mentioned that in a message. But that is a quick 360 of this locomotive. Coupler cut lever as well, right behind the snowplow here, and you have silver tipped in accessory hoses on the front. For those wanting a quick view of the top, there you can see the see-through detail of the dynamic brake fans and radiator fans, the exhaust dustbin hatch as well, and you can get a look at the grading on the walkways and the see-through features of the stairs. believe it's an etched metal, and even the end platforms by the coupler crossover platforms are see-through as well. Alright, I got all 5 versions lined up here. We've got L and N, and you can tell there are some variations and differences on these. So you can see that, for example, the L and N, the Western Pacific and the Rio Grande have drop steps, and the Milwaukee Road do not. There's some other spotting differences as well. This L and N doesn't have a snow plow on the front. It's just got a, I call it drop step. I don't know what it's actually called. So there's some variations there. The L and N on the nose on this side doesn't have the ratchet style brake wheel or brake to brake the locomotive, you know, to crank up the brake. So there's just some variations such as that are road name specific details. Here's a look at the Western Pacific. Nice dark WP scheme. The Rio Grande has a difference that sticks out to me. There's also obviously going to be some truck differences, but not only does it have the, I think it's an AEI tag, but it also has a re-railer mounted to the side there on the rear truck. So that's a cool feature, and Rio Grande just looks really nice anyway. It's a really nice paint scheme on that. So that's a neat feature of the Rio Grande, and they've got that on both sides of the locomotive. That re-railer is mounted. So then, as we've already covered, the Milwaukee Road, this is just 2026 versus the 2029. So no differences there that I'm aware of. But those are the 2 Milwaukee Road models as well. And some variations in antenna configurations and what's sitting on the cab, but they all look like they have the same horn mount. So some of them have different horns, but it's mounted in the same location on all of these locomotives. We're going to go ahead and weigh these now, so you have that information. It's just short of a pound, 0.96 pounds, that's 15.3 ounces, 434 grams for this. And for anybody saying, well, what about, that has re-railers on it. Okay, you lose 2 grams on the ones without re-railers. So you got 15.2 ounces, 432 grams. So there you have it. All right, we got the L and N on the track. We're just going to do a pull test, no sound. You can hear the motor noise that way. Really low motor noise, not very loud at all. Pretty quiet. Start to hear some sound, but that is the wheels kind of rubbing on the track as they're trying to gain traction. Looks like we're capping out. It keeps raising on me. We might peak at 4, 3.75. Looks like our peak. So it's about 52 freight cars this should be able to pull easily on per locomotive, which means 2 of them could pull 100 plus. So that's pretty good pulling power for a short locomotive such as this. Ready to move this at a 1 out of 128 speed steps on my NCE Pro Cab through the AccuTrack 2 speedometer to see what the slow speed control scale miles per hour are out of the box. And it is 0.8. It kind of looks like 0.6 from your perspective, so let me just move the camera this way. You can see it's 0.8 scale miles per hour out of the box. Very slow speed control. And if we take a look at it, there's not a lot of lurch. I'm not seeing any lurch really. Pretty smooth, slow speed control on this locomotive, which means it's got a pretty solid drive. Hopefully in 2025 I can remember to do this, but we're going to do top speed as well. Here comes the locomotive at full speed, 128. 76 scale miles per hour. Alright, I've chosen the Rio Grande as another scheme to look at. We'll rotate through schemes as we do this video. This one's pretty eye-catching, so I thought it'd be good to use this to go through the sound features and some of the lighting features. We'll do some other lighting features in the dark, but F8 starts this ESU LOKSound decoder. Prime mover sounds are pretty good. Let's listen to the bell. And here's the horn. That's ESU's really coming along, and that sounds great, really. There's no speaker reverb. It just sounds really well equalized, a nice horn sound. So very responsive too to F2. So that's good. F3's handbrake. Well, it sounds like coupler clank, but it's listed as handbrake here. 4 is dynamic brakes, which we have to get moving to here. Now I'm hearing handbrake back in the background. Get it back into focus here. So maybe not hearing dynamic brakes. 5 is class lights. 6 gyro light, which we'll go over in the dark. 7's warning beacon if equipped. Same with the gyro lights. 8 startup as I mentioned. 9 is drive hold. 10's independent brake. 11's radiator fan. 12 is headlight dimmer, 13's air dryer, 14 turns the number boards on and off, 15 UDE light if equipped, 16 air dryer, 17 brake set, 18 sanding valve. It's kind of hard to hear some of these sounds. There's the sanding valve. 19 short air let off, we'll do that real quick. 20 air compressor. That already cycles through on its own automatically. 21 air dryer. 22 is cab door. 23 engine hood doors. 24 reverser center, 25 shutters open close, 26 manually notches up. Haven't done that in a while. Let's do the manual notch up. You'll hear the prime mover start to notch up while it's not moving. And 27's manual notch down. So 28's manual notch logic setup, 29's load simulation, 30's brake, and 31 is sound fader. So there are your 31 functions listed in the locomotive. We've already done slow speed control through the Accutrack speedometer. Alright, now we have Western Pacific. Already done slow speed control testing, but I do want to show you just forward and reverse. Here, one speed step, pretty smooth. It already registered at 0.8 scale miles per hour. And one thing I didn't cover that's pretty evident here is on the wheels, they are rust-colored wheels. So ScaleTrains is the first manufacturer to go ahead and paint all the wheels rust-colored. So there's people that don't like weathering, they don't like graffiti, but I think even I, who's not a fan of weathering and graffiti, but I do want to get around to it eventually on my modeling skills on some consists, everyone agrees that the rust-colored wheels happen pretty quickly, sometimes before they're even installed on the locomotive. So there's reverse by 1. And again, smooth operation forward and reverse. You can see the ground lights shining above that front truck there. And we're going to switch out to L&N and show you lighting features in the dark next. Okay, I picked L&N so you can see it for starters. See the paint scheme a little better, but it'll show up better in the dark as well. We're going to go through some of the functions that I'm going to show you those in the dark. Obviously, headlight is on F0, so it's going to be controlled that way. There is going to be some lighting differences based on the light packages of the locomotives, but headlight is universal at F0. 5 is your classification lights, and they're going to change color each time you cycle through. So hitting F5 on and off is going to change the color, as you can see there. And then you've got F6, it's your gyro light, in some cases Mars lights. F7, if you had it, would be your warning light, not equipped on this one. And then there's the number board lights, which are lit but can be controlled and turned off with F14. So you see that there. Off and on. F15 UDE light, again not equipped on this one. You've also got lights shining down on the ground. Those are ground lights or inspection lights that show the crew if they're moving or not, or what's going on the ground in low visibility conditions. So speaking of low visibility conditions, let's make our own right now. One other light that I didn't mention was the walkway light. You can see that poking through the stanchions there. A little bit of light exposed on the L&N shows you where that's at, right below the headlights. So really nice uniform color on the lighting. There is number board lights front, rear, walkway lights front, rear, and truck lighting or ground lighting on each side. Now I've got Rio Grande because the gyro light is a different place on the nose. And the other one I forgot to mention that is front and rear is the classification lights. So you do have class lights front and rear on these models as well. Again, controlled by F5. So as you can see there, even lower light. You can see there. So that is the lighting features. Those are the lighting features on the model. Well, that's going to wrap up the look of the GP40 from ScaleTrains. As you saw, the different phase variations, road name, specific details. I hope you enjoyed the review. Obviously, make the decision on your own. I just present you with the facts and the data. It's irrefutable, like pull testing, weight, etc. So you can go out there and make the best determination on how to spend your hard-earned money. With that said, I'm going to leave you with a run-by. I think I'm going to do a funeral train. Let's pretend like these are all going out to pasture. We're just going to load them up in a power move and make a funeral train out of the GP40s, since I don't think any of the ones in this video are still around. And we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.